Your destination is on the left.
Who are we going to see, Corin?
Stacie Lyons. She's been a big supporter of Love America Tour and been a big supporter on Twitter in general before we even started this. And always has a positive attitude, always has something nice to say. So let's see what she has to say today. Here's Corin. Recording here. All right. Stacie. Can we high five?
Yeah.
I love it. Fantastic. It's so great to see you.
Good to see you
This
too.
This is an extremely exciting moment. How long have we been Twitter pals?
Oh, not long.
Well, not long is good though.
Yeah.
I like my feed a lot. I think that there's a lot of great people on there, and
I've noticed.
yeah, they're all very supportive of one another, and you know that's what I try to promote is you know, a discourse, you know, a humane discourse if we could. Well, now to get started, why don't we do a little introduction? What was the name that your parents gave you when you were born?
My name is Stacie, but it's funny, I was named after an actor.
Oh.
And my mom, her two favorite actors were Spencer Tracy and James Stacy.
Ah.
So you know which one she went with. So, but it's funny because I can claim both of them, because when I was little, people at church, the elderly people, they would call me Tracy.
Okay.
And it got so bad that my parents made me a T-shirt that said, "My name is Stacie, not Tracy." So whenever people, you know, they get tongue-tied and say, you know, they flub up, and so I answer to both. So even though my name is Stacie, so.
Yeah, I pretty much answer to everything except for late to dinner.
Yeah.
Where were you born? What state? Or?
Born here.
Born and raised in Louisiana.
Yeah,
What
Shreveport.
city? Oh, right in Shreveport.
Yeah.
So this is hometown central for you.
Yeah. The only time I've lived anywhere else is after I got married.
Okay.
Yeah, when he moved me to Webster Parish.
Okay.
And we were married for 2 years, and then I moved my kids and myself back.
Okay. What and how long ago was that?
It was, let's see, our divorce was final in 2008, so
It's been a
we
while.
actually, we split up. It was so weird. We split up like in 2006, and so I moved the kids and myself back, and he played me, you know, after that, and so I finally filed for divorce and all that.
Yeah.
And it was finalized in 2008.
Yeah, it's a tough situation. I always found that having to sign a contract with the state for a relationship was always strange enough, you know. So getting a license to be married and then having to go to a judge to get your relationship nullified, to me is an absolute insanity. You know, it's just bizarre. But that said, that's a different subject. How was that? We'll get into the earlier stuff in a moment. But how was that transition for you with kids and splitting up and coming back here? I mean, that's a lot to happen all at once.
Yeah, well, I was glad to be back home.
Okay.
I didn't like it out there, because he laughed at me when I said, "You moved me out to the country," and he said, "This is the country?" And I said, "To me it is." You know, I'm used to hearing traffic, and, you know, out there, we were like between I-20 and Highway 80. So, and actually, we were like in a little village.
Okay.
But it's part of this town called Minden. So, but I didn't like it.
Well,
I didn't like being out there.
Yeah, it's a big transition to go from a larger town into a smaller town lifestyle. I had gone from Los Angeles to Spring, Texas, And Spring is a suburb of Houston, really. There's not much. It's all city between there, but
Yeah.
it's got a kind of country vibe to it out there. And for me, when I got there, I was like, oh, what a relief, you know.
Yeah.
When you did get here with your kids, were you already employed at that time?
No, not at that time. No,
Mm.
I left my job when I was pregnant. My doctor put me on bed rest because since I had a high risk pregnancy, he put me on bed rest, and so I left my job in October. They were born in 2002.
Mm-hmm.
So I went on bed rest, and so I was gonna be a stay-at-home mom, and my husband was gonna work, and so that went okay for a while.
Right. Well, did you enjoy being a stay-at-home mom? And all that?
I did.
Right?
Because of my disability, people kept asking me, "How do you do it?" Because I have twins.
Right.
She's got a twin brother. He's probably in this room.
Okay.
I don't know if he came out, but people kept asking me, how do you do it? And I said, I just do what I have to do. These two little ones are depending on me, and basically I pretty much took care of them by myself from the beginning anyway, because he worked all day, 5 days a week, and
Yeah. Yeah,
so I just
absolutely.
did what I had to do. But as far as the job thing, it's been hard, even trying to find one,
Right.
because I recently discovered that for people with disabilities who can work, which I can,
Yes,
obviously,
of course.
it's legal for them to be paid less
What?
than the minimum wage.
Why is that? I mean, that's an insanity.
The only thing that I know of is that, as far as, to me, society sees disability people as like the bottom of the totem pole,
Really?
and so.
I mean, it doesn't surprise me. I just,
Yeah.
it's one, it's a strata, of our society and our culture that certainly gets swept under the rug.
Exactly.
Because we're having this conversation now, and I'm thinking, well, gee, yeah, I've never really thought, about it particularly because there's so many different movements and things like that seem to get the most vociferous backing, but that's just nuts.
It is. I know.
Coming to that question, I can imagine as a young lady growing up, was having the impediment a difficulty for you socially and making friends in school?
It was because in elementary school I went to a school that was for all disabled children.
Okay.
So, but then in 7th grade, I was mainstreamed. That's what they called it. Mainstreamed into regular classes. There was a brand new in 85, 84, 85, middle school. It was a elementary middle school on the other side of town, West Shreveport. As a matter of fact, it's on West 70th where y'all where y'all were staying.
Right.
But the campground's like much further down past the school. So, but I was told, me and several of my friends were told, this school is opening, and it was like a select group of kids that they felt like could handle
going to regular school.
Yeah, being in regular classes, changing classes every class period. So, which was exciting because, all I had ever known was this one little school, from the time that I was old enough to go to school. So it was exciting, but eventually in like 7th and 8th grade, it was, I got bullied a little bit, yeah. And I know.
It's just
I know.
unbelievable.
But kids, they don't know how to react to people that are different
Yeah.
from them.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I did. I met a lot of I made a lot of friends, and we went from middle school to high school, and actually my high school was like behind the middle school that I went to.
Okay.
So the only bad thing I didn't like was I've always lived on this part of town,
Mm-hmm.
but my schools
We're all the way across on the other side of town.
yeah. Even though I lived in a school district, you know, there was like a school, a high school, and a middle school.
Right.
Right, you know, not far from me.
Right.
But it was not handicap accessible.
Oh. Okay.
So I had to get in. I was like the first one on the school bus, last one off, 5 days a week.
It sounds exhausting.
Yeah, it was. It was.
But for the change of atmosphere, was having to make that sacrifice of earlier mornings and later evenings. Was it worth it to you to be in a normal school environment?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, it was. I mean, you know, it was nice.
I think it is really. I mean, that must have been challenging. But you must have in the other school. What was it that they saw in you that made them feel like, you know what, she's got the character and the strong personality to get over there?
I don't know.
You know?
I guess it was my personality.
Uh-huh.
You know, 'cause, I don't know. I don't know how much of it might have been based on grades or.
Did you get good grades?
Yeah, I tried.
Okay.
I tried. English was always my favorite subject. I love creative writing and all that kind of stuff. So.
Yes, that is a good outlet.
Mm-hmm.
Do you still do some creative writing?
Mm-hmm. I've recently started back up doing that.
Fantastic. And what kind of stuff are you working on right now?
I don't. Well, it's nothing that that's ever going to see the light of day.
Well, is it like short story kind of stuff, or
Yeah.
Well, a series of short stories would be awesome because I publish stuff on a site called lulu.com.
Yeah, I noticed.
Which,
yeah,
it's extremely easy to use. There's no upfront costs, and all the templates are provided for you and everything like that. So, over the next year and a half, 2 years, if you collect enough of your short stories, it would be. I think it's worthwhile because it's free to do, and you might as well put it out there.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
So that being said, when as you made that transition into high school, and then started adjusting, into a different kind of setting, what was it like as you got a little bit older into your teen years, the driving years, and all of that, when kids are going to house parties and things like that? Were you active in a social group at that time?
Oh yeah, I had my own little group of friends. Like, there was always the preppies, the headbangers,
Yeah, that was the 1980s. We called them Heshers out in L.A.
Really?
Yeah, Heshers, stoners, the long hairs, the headbangers, yeah. What kind of music were you into back then?
Christian music.
Okay.
Pop.
Mm-hmm. Did you like Stryper then? Were you a Stryper fan?
A little
Christian
bit.
rock?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Not much.
Oh, okay.
But I was more into. There was a music artist named Carmen. I was more into his music.
Okay.
So, but like my Twitter handle, ELO, my Twitter handle is
Electric
ELO.
Light Orchestra?
Yeah, I grew up listening to them.
I saw them my mom was in the music
Really?
business. She was a graphic designer in the music business throughout the 70s and 80s and all that. And I saw it, but I went to an ELO concert. I saw Joan Jett and the Blackhearts and Hall & Oates and Jay Giles Band. And, the just list goes on and on and on.
Yeah.
Music is an important factor. I am curious because you had said that you enjoyed Christian music at that age in high school, which is particular. Just as much as it's particular to listen to punk rock or to listen to this. So, but what was it that kind of drove you more towards music that has more of a positive kind of spiritual message and quality to it? What was it? I was
born and raised in the church.
Okay.
Southern Baptist Church. And so I became friends with a lot of other Christian kids. And my best friend, she did not go to a Southern Baptist church. Hers is like a full gospel church. They're very charismatic.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
You know,
more kind of almost evangelical kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My father-in-law, I guess he'd be ex-father-in-law now, but he's a Southern Baptist minister. He was the Southern Baptist minister of Gorman, Texas, for a while. But back in the '80s, he was in the evangelical scene as well a little bit, and now he's somewhere in the upper hierarchy of the Southern Baptist ministry or whatever.
Convention, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he does now, but he's not really preaching anymore.
Oh.
That said, did your parents? You said they raised you Southern Baptist. Were your parents? Did your parents remain together, or were you?
Yeah, there's actually my dad, the man that my children know as their grandfather. He's not my biological father.
Okay.
But yeah, they're still together. After she married him, that after a couple of years, they had a child together.
Okay.
So I have a half brother. And
how old were you when they got married?
probably about 5.
Oh, that's a great age. Yeah, you're not too unresponsive to new people in your environment as if like it would be if you were 13 or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what's this strange dude doing in my house?
Yeah.
Older you get, the stranger those things are.
Yeah.
Was it as you recall it? Without going into too much detail or anything like that, the separation of your real parents. What age were you when that happened?
I had just been born.
Okay, so similar to me. I was a year and a half old when they.
So yeah, as it was explained to, I don't want to get too heavy.
Yeah, of course.
But as it was explained to me by my maternal grandmother, my biological father, he walked into the hospital, to the nursery, took one look at me, and turned around and left. So that leads me to believe that, he just couldn't handle, I guess.
Handle what?
Handle having a child with a disability.
You gotta be kidding me.
That's what I think.
But the beauty of the spirit and the beauty of the soul, is pales in comparison. It's just that must have been rough on your mom.
Yeah, it was. Right then and there, it was like she became a single mom.
Yeah.
And I was told later, much later, that my grandparents even asked her after they split up if she even wanted to keep me or put me up for adoption. Mm-hmm. And she said, no, I want to keep her. And
thank God.
Yeah. Yeah.
And your relationship with your mom is good, or?
It's good.
It's there.
Yeah, it's there. Yeah, we speak.
Okay, well that's a positive. And so your new stepfather at 5, when he came into the scene, was it a positive change for the family, for you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. He adopted me. I took his last name, Lyons.
Okay.
And because my biological father, he forfeited his parental rights.
Right.
And so I adopted my adopted father's last name. Been that way ever since. Mm-hmm. And I even, after my divorce, I even wanted to get my kids' names changed to mine.
Right.
My maiden name.
Right.
But by Louisiana law, I'm sorry if I'm getting in too much.
No, you're not at all. That's right.
By Louisiana law, I would have had to ask my ex for his permission to change their last name, and I knew he wouldn't go for that, especially because my son is his only. He's got some other children.
Right.
And my son is his only boy.
Yeah. Let me look at this real quick.
Okay.
Are we good? Yeah. Okay, great. I get paranoid.
I understand. So he would have wanted his son to carry on his last name. So I knew he wouldn't go for that.
Yes, of
so
course.
I didn't even try.
When your stepfather came into the picture, did he come in with a religious identity as well, or was it mainly your mother?
As far as I can remember, no, he became a Christian after they got married and got baptized and.
Being a participant in a church was something very important to your mom.
Yes.
Okay.
Because she was raised in the church.
Okay.
So she raised me in the church.
And do you think that learning what they teach you in the did you go to the schools at the church as well, like the youth groups or anything like that, or?
Not well. Later on, like in my teen years, middle school, I did. Most of my younger years were spent like in Memphis, Tennessee, at a hospital.
Okay.
And I had, not to change gears, but I had 13 surgeries during my childhood. So.
And how old were you then when most of those surgeries happened?
I was 3 when I had a rod put in my back that was about like that. And later on at 11 or 12, I had that removed.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have 60 grand worth of titanium in my right leg.
Really?
Yeah. I shattered my femur in 7 pieces. And I had to do 5 surgeries and almost a year and 8 months of physical therapy and rehab to get all of my function back in my leg and everything,
gosh.
which was great. I was very lucky. When was the like? Did you have any moments during that time period of growing up where you were? Did this condition frustrate you at all? Were you angry at the universe in a sense? Like, did you ever have those moments?
I was never angry at God.
Okay.
But there was a time when I wondered if he was still, caring about me down here.
Absolutely.
If he left me.
Absolutely.
But especially in my 20s. Late teens, early 20s, especially the 20s. That was a hard time for me because all my friends were getting married. I was a bridesmaid in my best friend's wedding. She got married in 93. I was a bridesmaid at her wedding, which was really good. I was happy for her.
Yeah, of course.
And so, but it was hard because now, all those friends, they're like on their second or third marriage. Some of them have grandchildren
already. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was 30 when I had my kids. So, and they're 17. They'll be 18 in October.
Yeah.
So it was hard. Gosh.
And was it when you were in high school? What was did you have a focus for yourself as far as what you wanted to do in life, jobs or anything like that?
Not yet, no. I when I graduated in 90. I should have graduated in 89.
Yeah, I graduated in 1990. I was class of 90.
Oh, yay! Dang it, lost my train of thought.
It's fine. Yeah, it's fine. I was just asking what your plans were after high school, basically.
So I graduated, and I did go to LSU Shreveport. I was gonna become a speech therapist, and I love sign language. I've always been interested in sign language.
Right.
So I wanted to become an interpreter. And later on, I even took a sign language class. But I've heard that interpreters don't get paid that well, so they work like a second job.
Exactly.
So I kind of kept changing directions.
Right. Well, looking for something stable that you could rely on. So did you end up going to a regular college after LSU? Did you end up going back and studying anything else, or?
I dropped out of LSUS. and went to a business school.
Okay.
And
It's a smart move.
Yeah, completed the program there, and then I I became a client of Vocational Rehabilitation, which is an agency that helps people with disabilities find employment.
Mhm.
So the woman who worked there, when they had a receptionist position open up,
Mhm.
she told me about it, and I was blessed to get hired. And I worked there for 7 years. Before that, I worked at a hotel
Mhm.
in the reservations. I hated that job.
Oh, really? Why? What was expected of you?
Well, it was a cramped little office.
Uh huh.
And it was me and my supervisor and like 2 or 3 other people would like hang out in there, and they were smokers.
Oh no.
And
Oh no.
so they would use that little room to like be their break room. You know?
Oh, that's brutal.
Yeah. So but that's not it. I worked from noon to 8:30 every night, and so like from noon to 5, my supervisor and this one other girl that worked in there taking reservations over the phone. When they left at 5, I was in there all by myself answering the phone, and then reservations were printed out from corporate. It was a Sheraton hotel.
Yeah.
So reservations were printed out. I had to be responsible for those, typing those into the computer. And it just, I gave it a nickname. I called it Hotel Hell. It was awful.
Oh.
It was awful. So I worked there from November of 94 to May of 95. And I forgot his position. He called me into his office one day and said, listen, corporate has decided that your position is no longer needed. So, and this was like one morning, I guess, I had to go to work, and I had only been gone like maybe half an hour.
Yeah.
I was still living at home with my parents then. Well, after he said that, I was like, oh, that's okay. They no longer needed me. That's fine, because I had to remember so much stuff. I had to remember all kinds of...
So it was a blessing in disguise.
Yes. Now, my mom, when I pulled back up in the driveway later on, she was like, what are you doing home so soon? And I was like, corporate doesn't need me anymore. And she's like, oh, no, you need to start looking for another job. So I did, and didn't have any luck finding anything until that counselor at Vocational Rehabilitation told me about that receptionist position. So
how long was it between losing the job and getting the new one?
Oh, let's see, from May to July.
Okay, so not too bad.
Not long. Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Fortunately.
And what? But were you pretty active in trying to secure new work? You were.
Oh yeah, okay. I kept trying to find other
Yeah.
things, but when she told me about that position, that was a blessing.
Absolutely.
And I worked there for 7 years. In 2001, I got a promotion,
Mm-hmm.
and I worked in that position until I left there.
Yeah.
So, but I have been regretting, leaving that job, when
Of course.
I should have just gone on maternity leave, so
Right.
I still have that job instead of leaving and, going through
Well, you
the
can't.
divorce.
Yeah, it's tough to know the future at that
Yeah,
time.
true.
Right?
Couldn't predict what was going to happen.
Right.
But yeah, it's been a struggle.
Absolutely. And having fortunately, that you had a stepfather who came in. That seems like he was an active participant in the family unit.
Yeah.
That must have been nice.
Yeah, I've raising them has been all me, but
Yeah.
they have helped a lot, especially financially.
Right.
So, but I want to find a job. It's just hard.
Yes, of course.
And on applications, I don't even have to indicate my disability.
Right.
And of course, it's against the law for an employer to ask
Right.
about it, which frankly I don't mind. You haven't asked.
Right,
I don't
right.
mind. I don't mind talking about it if you want to know.
Sure.
But it's been a struggle, and it's really depressing and frustrating.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What
So,
kind of job are you looking for right now? Like, what would you like to see yourself
a desk
doing?
job.
Okay. Yeah.
Basically, because I wouldn't be able to work as a cashier
Uh-huh.
or anything like that.
But a decent receptionist position.
Yeah.
Some places.
Something like that.
Yes. Well, how has this kind of economic this tumultuous economic situation that we're in over the last 6-7 months
Yeah.
has that had an impact on looking for work right now?
Oh well, I've been with my kids since March 13th,
Okay.
so I have seldom been anywhere.
Right.
So and since I don't have my vehicle now,
That's
can't
yes.
can't get out and look for
Yes.
anything.
Now, what about trying to get something that might be work from home type of job? So they have some of the call center positions or different things where you can do it
I've
from home.
thought about that.
Yeah.
I haven't really looked into it.
Yeah, it might be an avenue. Just thinking out loud, it might be a good option. But you seem like you have a really strong positive attitude in the face of everything.
I'm sorry. I've always considered myself an optimist. Even when I got down and really depressed, I've always kind of managed to regroup and,
Absolutely.
get it back together.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm curious about is just the trials and tribulations of your life, not having full functionality, as just all it is a hindrance. It has nothing to do with character and intellect and spirituality. It's just a physical. Sorry, let me fix this real quick. It's just a physical hindrance,
Yeah.
But the what I am curious about is what have you leaned on in the hard times that have helped you to, not give up and not throw in the towel on yourself and life and all of that?
Faith.
Okay.
I mean, because like I said, I was born and raised in the church.
Mm-hmm.
I believe in the power of prayer.
Mm-hmm.
When I came into the world, my grandma told me there was a nurse at the hospital that said she's going to be fine. We're going to pray for her. She'll be good. Because the doctors, they weren't even sure I would go beyond a couple of days or so.
Wow.
But the thing about it is that with my disability, it's a birth defect.
Mm-hmm.
And they always give a textbook diagnosis saying, she's not going to ever do anything, be able to walk, talk, have mental retardation, and all these things. It's a textbook diagnosis that they give everybody that's born with my birth defect.
That doesn't sound smart.
No, it doesn't.
I don't know enough about it, but it doesn't sound
well,
very
it's
smart.
called spina bifida.
Okay, I've heard of it.
And there's 4 degrees of spina bifida. The mildest form is like the person doesn't even know that they have it.
Okay.
It's so mild. Hank Williams Sr., he had it.
Okay.
But he never knew what it was called. He just knew his back hurt. You know,
Is it like a deterioration of the spine or something, or what is it?
Well,
Is it like a scoliosis
well,
type of thing?
I was gonna say it's similar to scoliosis. Is the spine is curved, but like with mine, I had a hole in my spine.
Good gracious!
Yeah, it was like that.
Oh my goodness!
It's about the size of a grapefruit.
Where it just didn't attach?
Yeah, it didn't close all the way.
Wow.
So, yeah, and back in the 70s, you know, there wasn't really any
A lot you could do.
the right medical technology to close the hole up. But now they can do surgery in vitro, you know, in the womb. And,
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's
And-
incredible.
Yeah, I know. But yet doctors still give that same diagnosis, you know, and they give parents the option to end the pregnancy. And the parents, you know, they'll let the child be born, and that child, you know, will exceed all expectations. So it's something else.
It is. It really, really is. And as we're talking more about it, and I'm thinking more about it, I just can't. I mean, it's difficult for me to even think of any mainstream programs out there that help individuals with disabilities to remain gainfully employed, because I can imagine that there's added expenses to life.
Yeah.
You know, with the hindrances, there must be some added expenses that you have to endure as well.
Yeah, well, for me, it's, even though I technically don't have the mildest form of spina bifida, I have been very blessed. I'm very mobile. You know, I've had good upper body strength.
Yeah.
And, you know, I've been very blessed to be able to take care of myself, because I have friends who cannot,
Wow.
you know, take care of themselves.
That's rough.
Cannot drive.
Yeah.
You know, they have to have a personal care attendant come help them with, you know, dressing and showering and all that kind of stuff. So I've been very blessed.
Incredibly so. When you put it into that context, because this is such a ignored topic, I really think it is. I mean,
it is.
You know, especially the more that we're talking right now, it just makes me think back. I don't even, you know, it's not even much of a consideration in mainstream topics or news articles or anything else about individuals who are in that situation where you're completely left out in the cold.
Exactly, and especially under this administration now.
Oh dear.
I don't want to get too
No,
political.
that's fine. Yeah, no, we don't have to get political, but you can explain to me like what's happened in
Yeah.
terms of what's been removed or what's been changed in that has affected you. That's
Well,
important to discuss.
Yeah, I just think this current president, he doesn't give a crap.
Right.
You know, he'd probably rather see all disabled people back in institutions.
I don't know anything about that, but what has specifically changed in terms of the policies that has affected you?
Well, I mean, like the Americans with Disabilities Act. You know, it was signed into law in 1990, but even now, it doesn't seem to protect people with disabilities like it was supposed to.
So that's going through a bunch of administrations. If that was in the 90s, you're talking about Bush Jr., Clinton, Bush Sr., Clinton, Bush Jr., and Obama, and now. So it'd be hard to hang your hat on Trump for that one. But I get it.
I'm not blaming that on him.
Yeah.
But it's just not protecting people with disabilities like it should have. Like, things are not as accessible as they should be.
Exactly. No, it's tough because obviously there is a disconnect between the state and the federal government, and states have their own autonomy.
Yeah.
So federal programs crossing through all of that, it's a big mixed bag. But I am curious what could you suggest to the current administration now, or the governor here in Louisiana who handles the things there?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what kind of program over these many years that you've thought about things? Have you ever thought about what type of program might be of better assistance to people who have disabilities?
Well, I just wish that the ADA was more enforced to make things more accessible. Like, more public buildings are supposed to be accessible,
Mm-hmm.
but I've seen people on Twitter complaining that even some federal buildings are not as accessible as they should be.
Sure.
You know, and public places should be more accessible to people like me, just like they are to everybody.
Yes.
You know,
Yes, of
non-disabled people.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But they aren't. Like, for some reason, when they drafted the ADA, they exempted churches. But fortunately, I haven't had that problem around here.
Yeah, almost every church I've been to is you know,
accessible.
Has accessible. Yeah, has the ramps and everything like that. If you went to a church that didn't have one, it'd be pretty shocking.
Yeah. Well, actually, when I was a teenager, me and some friends went to a concert at a church downtown,
Mm-hmm.
and it wasn't exactly accessible because it's old.
Right.
It's been there for I don't know how long.
Yeah.
And it was not accessible, but we managed to, you know, because I had to get in, go this back way,
Sure.
you know, to navigate, to get to the sanctuary where the concert was taking place. It was kind of awkward, but
So yeah, it was, you had to take a detour.
yeah, exactly.
You know, I am very curious about because I think that this employment thing is probably the biggest issue that I can see is this lack of having either a state by state run portion of the that is specifically dealing with trying to keep those individuals who are seeking employment actively and who want to be a part of the workforce, who have disabilities, and being able to catalog what type of work would they be capable of doing, and what type of, because even if they're bedridden, there is a certain amount of work that one could do online or with technology now today.
Yeah.
Even if it's kind of administrative type stuff.
Yeah. Well, I've seen on Twitter, there are some people with disabilities who do work. You know, they're professionals, but with the virus and everything.
Right.
That, over the last few months, well, before that, their employers would tell them, we can't make certain things accessible to you so you can work from home. But once the virus came into existence, people that are in other professional positions, they got to work from home. And so evidently it became accessible to everybody. So all these other professionals that happen to be disabled, they're like, well, why couldn't you do that
for us a long time ago?
When I asked for it, but you're making it available to non-disabled people,
Very quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, extremely quickly, within weeks.
Yes.
So obviously the complexities of setting up a work from home system for certain people was not nearly as difficult as they made it out to be.
Exactly. I mean, talk about being ignored.
Right.
That's what I mean. Society seems to see disabled people as the bottom, the bottom of the totem pole.
Right.
But when a bunch of non-disabled people need something,
they're quick to action.
Yeah, it's like, okay, here you go.
Absolutely, I totally see that, and it really is I mean, that needs to be championed for sure. I think that there should be a very, very well thought out, well oiled, program to assist, especially those disabled with getting employment, because there's plenty of assistance programs for people who are perfectly capable of doing whatever that they can go to. There's all kinds of them. I mean, there's all kinds of workforce programs. There's state ones. There's federal.
Exactly.
There's a load of them. So it doesn't seem difficult with the infrastructure already there to delegate a certain portion of those people's time to specifically seeking out a certain type of employment that would work well with individuals with disabilities. That just seems like a no-brainer.
Yeah, it seems that way, but for some reason, certain people in the federal, state, whatever, that doesn't occur.
Yeah, there would have to be a really big lobby, because everything is about lobbying now, and everybody's interested in how much money can you put in my coffers for whatever reason, and that would be a really strong position for someone to take. Would be to take up some kind of lobbying activities for those with disabilities who really want to join the workforce.
Exactly.
Because there is a difference between someone, whether they're disabled or not, who doesn't want to work, versus someone who's capable or lacks some capabilities that do want to work. Now, again, because you seem like you have such a positive, good outlook even in the face of trying times. What kind of advice can you give to other individuals who are in a similar situation as you, that they can take home and kind of chew on, to maybe help themselves get into a better, more positive state of mind?
Just don't give up. Just keep going. I mean, I've hit low points, a few times during my life. But like I said, I'm still not able to get out and find a job. But just keep going. Don't give up.
Don't give up.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't give up.
There's some times that I, got so depressed and down that I lost my motivation, and I regret that.
How'd you overcome that?
I just tried to pick myself up and try to get myself motivated again.
And
pray.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, there was a certain amount of faith that was involved in that, and your relationship with God, and that personal relationship that we all have.
Yeah.
Or those who believe in that have. When you got to your very lowest point, was there something specific that started you on the path back out of that dark place? Or were you just fed up with it?
Just prayer. Just try to pray and get myself together and get myself motivated.
Well, that's actually a big thing, because whether you are whatever your religious preference is, prayer is something that is universal, and I think that it does serve a very strong purpose. And when you had those moments of just being in personal contact with God, your relationship with God, did you feel that there was a reciprocal communication happening?
Not at first. There were a bunch of times when I felt all alone, and like I said before, I wondered if he was still up there looking down on me. Because it didn't seem like anything was happening. Yeah. And I admit sometimes it took me a while to get motivated again, to find something, to feel like I have a purpose.
Exactly. Well, the writing thing is certainly it is great to dive back into for sure. I find when I write, I can put a lot of personal experiences and different things in there, and a lot of times when things come out and they're on the page, some reason there's a release that occurs when that happens.
Yeah.
Just to wrap it up, because I know we're going a little long. I don't want to take your whole day.
Oh.
But with respect to other individuals who are going through this and are seeking some guidance, I think that you're a great person to speak to about it. So I think that I don't know what's there for that, but I'd say the last thing I am curious about, because of the faith part of it and all of that, what advice might you give to an individual who has found themselves in a position where their faith is challenged or shattered, and they feel like there is no hope? What kind of advice would you give the person who found themselves in the same place that you found yourself at one point in time?
Just keep praying. That's all I can think of to say is just keep praying.
Just keep praying.
Yeah, because it may not happen, when you want it to.
Sure.
But I've always read and heard that He's in control.
Yes.
And He'll help you, and maybe not as quickly as you want Him to.
Sure. Sure.
Because we're human and we want things right now.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
He's got to be the one to be in control, and it's His plan.
Well, speaking of that, because it is His plan, and we have to you and I both being of similar quality of thought on this subject, there must be some divine fingers in our sitting right here next to each other. So since that's the case, what I would say is that Stacie Lyons here in the Shreveport area, for those of you out there, you can obviously see how capable and how sharp she is. And for anybody out there that may be watching this on Twitter, YouTube, or anything else, we'll be putting her information on there with her permission, of course. And if you know someone, or you are someone who needs a little assistance out there, this is your girl. This is your dame. This is your lady. I love it. Thank you so much for taking your time out, Stacie.
Sure,
I
you.
really enjoyed it, and
I did too. Thank you.
And I hope that the folks out there get as much out of this as I've gotten. Yeah.
Thank you.
You betcha, babe. So great to meet you.
Great to meet you.
Yeah, you are absolutely lovely.
Oh,
and I was
thank you.
saying earlier when we were walking up, you always have a good attitude on out there on the social media thing, and I just really appreciate that a lot, and I hope to when if we can keep this thing going, I hope to do a catch up with some of the folks and see how things have changed for them, after some of this has taken place.
Yeah,
so
that'd be great.
so perhaps you'll get to see myself and Stacie Lyons here together again in the near future, and maybe we'll have some great updates for you, because Love America Tour is all about sharing the love, getting to know people, and getting people to know each other again, because that is what's going to help us get out of this strange time we are in.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Lord.
All right. Cheers, everybody.
Good.
Boom. Love it, Stacie.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'll see you on Twitter, and I'll see you on the interwebs.
See you.
Bye.
I'll be praying for y'all.
Thank you so much, and you as well.
Hopefully no more problems with the RV.
No more problems.
Yeah.
Cheers, babe.
Cheers.
Awesome. Great interview.